Hi there, this is Olaf. I'm the main developer, I would say, of the progress indicator, and I want to show you the features, I want to show you how it works, and I want to start with how to install it. So you have downloaded a zip file. Here in my case it's 1.827, the version number. It should work on 32 and 64 bits versions of Microsoft PowerPoint 2010 or newer, and on Windows and Mac OS. So this is very special because you can use this tool for hopefully every situation you're on. So I'm gonna start by installing the add-in version. The difference between the macro version with the PPTM and the PPAM, AM is the add-in version, is that the add-in will be available in all your presentations and not only in the presentation which is together with a macro. So in PowerPoint, switch to this view, go to Option, go to Add-ins and choose the PowerPoint add-ins. I have no add-ins installed now. I'm gonna add a new one, and usually PowerPoint looks in this folder, which I don't want. I have put my indicator right here, and you need to choose the PPAM version, and of course there's a macro. That's what we want. You have to allow that. This checkbox should be checked, and you see immediately here is a new ribbon. I close it and there is a new ribbon. So let's start with a new presentation. Let's start new. Gonna do a blank one, and I'm gonna add just some. So how does it work? We have the progress indicator bar, and there's an auto update feature which works fine. If you change anything in the settings, the progress indicator will be updated and recreated right away, which is fine for smaller presentations. If you have longer presentations, you might want to turn off the auto update feature, make your settings to your wishes, and then press the create button, which I'm gonna do right now. There is my progress indicator. On the first slide we have 4 indicator icons, which is the oval with a size of 30, and the color has been set to default, which is the dark green for the slides you have already seen. In this case it's the first slide, so the first slide gets a dark green icon, the second slide has 2 dark green icons, and so forth. So pretty safe explaining. If I choose something different, you have 196, if I'm not mistaken, icons. You see it auto updates right away. As soon as I do some changes, I can change the color. This color palette is taken from the theme colors. So if you change the theme, you can change you get a different color palette. I'm going to show that in a minute, and you see you can adjust that very easily. So let's go back. I'm going to change my theme to, let's say, a pretty dark one. And when I go back to progress indicator, open that, you see it's a different color palette. Maybe I want to have the red for the color seen, and I want to have the light orange for the unseen, and now my indicator matches the color of my presentations. I'm gonna go back to the plain one. Maybe that's easier to see. So what else can we do here? Let's start by doing some presentation. Progress indicator demo. So for let's say that intro. So on here we're gonna do some details, and this is the end. I'm gonna add some more slides in a minute. You may wonder what this is for. we don't have sections yet. So I can do some sections. Sections is a PowerPoint feature. I'm going to put a section right here, right mouse click, between two slides. You can add sections, the German version, Abschnitt, or go over to the sort order. You can do right mouse click and add sections here. I'm going to do it here because it's quite easy to see. I will add one section between first and second slide, which I gonna rename it intro, like the first. That's why I'm gonna change the title here. So this is the very first PowerPoint always creates a section before the first slide, so you don't mind. And I will add another or two more slides and add another section here. These are my backup sections. Let's call it backup for a moment now. So let's say you have a presentation, you have your I have the first slide, and then I have 3 slides, and I have 2 more backup slides which I actually don't want to show, but I might have if some questions arise, which I can use those slides to answer them. You see the progress indicator has not been updated when I inserted 2 slides, so I need to do that. And now we have slides on all, now we have indicators on all sections, and on all slides, sorry. But you see, we also have some words above our indicator icons now. And these words are the names of my sections. I introduce sections here. So this is section start. There is 1 slide in the start, so I get 1 icon with the description of my section here. If I go further, everyone can see we are in the intro now. This is the section name which is displayed here, and on the first slide, and there are 2 more slides in my intro section. So the backup section is something I actually don't want to show at all. So what to do? I can do something. There are some special features, and if you open help, you will see we have 2 special section names. You can either set a section name to PI section name hidden, which will make, I will demonstrate that. PI section name hidden. I hope I have no spelling error. Now I update that, and you see the section is still there, but the section name is not shown anymore. If you want to hide that section at all, so no slide in the section will get an indicator, just name the section PI section hidden, update, and you see in this section, the section is completely gone. So this is not getting any indicators anymore. So this should be fine. Of course, you can change the font of my section names. Let's take Times New Roman. Let's make it a little larger. Oh, that was not very much to this. Everyone can see it. Maybe you want to change that you have the icons above your name. You can change the colors of the indicators. This is the same color chooser you've seen already. Now let's make it a dark and a light yellow. Not so much difference, but if I go to my first section, you can see that. There is the possibility to set some background colors. Of course, you can define the background colors as well. Let's take a dark blue, and for the unseen we take a light blue, and which is like this now. I'm gonna remove the background color for a minute. No, I leave the background color. Let's come to the next section, to the next area here, to the margin. You see the left margin is this margin from the very left side of the slide to the first section. If I set that to 0, you can enter a value. You need to press enter so that PowerPoint recognizes this. There is a bug, and this is not a bug in the macro. This is a bug in the VBA of the Macintosh. If you enter a value that's not in this list, you see a value next to the one you entered, which is coming directly from the list. So we can change the top value. We can even do a minus, let's say -10. That works as well. And you can put in a very large value, let's say 440. You see the indicator jumps to the bottom, and this is why you need to enter values by hand. You can place it to the bottom so far you like. This is the completely different progress indicator, but I think it's a very nice one. So we have covered left, right, and we have covered the top. I'm gonna put this back to 10. And this here, what you see, the space in between, this is the space which is 10 by default. If I set that to 0, there is no space between the different sections. So very user-friendly, very easy to define. These settings are saved with your presentation, so meaning if I save this presentation and reopen it, all the correct settings are displayed in the toolbar. The squeeze, watch the 3 icons in the introduction here. If I change the squeeze to something, you see there are minus and plus values. And if I change that to 10, we squeeze them together. Always oriented on the one in the middle, if there is one. We can squeeze even further, of course. You get my drift. Oh, that was something different. I'm going to explain that in a minute. I was in a wrong field. I want to enter fully here. You can do some, let's go back to 0, or some minus, so we spread them further apart. So you get a more equal view maybe of your icons in the indicator area up here. So what is the gap? The gap is the space between the icons of the indicator, so the arrows in this case, and the blue bar, the section titles. If I turn it up, this is the 10 in between that. Of course you can fine-tune it, you can do it, you can use all settings that you want to. So far so good. We have 2 more little areas for me to explain. The skip, unskip, and then there is yeah, let's go. Let's say you have this details, and I'm gonna duplicate this and name it more details. So if we have more details, and actually more details is a slide you don't want to show, so you go here and hide this slide. In presentation mode, this slide will not be shown. The problem is when we refresh, this slide would get an indicator bar, because if you, it's just a slide, but actually on a hidden slide you probably don't want to see the indicator bar, because if you're in presentation mode you see this slide and you switch over to the next slide from 3, the next slide that will be shown is slide number 5. So you see this is the 3rd slide in your presentation, and this is the 4th visible slide in your presentation. So this is why a hidden slide like this doesn't get any indicator. You can prevent that if you turn off this hidden. If you turn off this hidden, even the hidden slides in your presentation will get the indicator bar. And now, of course, there are 5 slides in total and not 4. So let's turn it off. No, and only 4 slides. So this is the hidden feature. And there's another feature. Maybe you have another slide here with a video you're showing. And on this slide, if we refresh this indicator bar, of course, there's the video. And if this is the video and you don't want an indicator on this slide, you can very easily accomplish that by skipping the slide. So you see, skipped slides are by default hidden. Ignored, not hidden, I'm sorry. So if I skip the slide gets comment, progress indicator, ignore this slide. It's just a comment. If you delete this comment, you delete the skipped node, and of course the slide gets skipped, but we want to skip this slide, and there is no indicator on the skipped slides now, except you turn this off and you get the skipped as well over here. So one last thing, you see we have the section names up here, which is nice, but maybe you don't want that. So maybe you just want the indicators, and this is the way to go. Go over to sections, click on sections, and you see the sections are gone. Now there is a blue bar, but this blue bar is just because we use background color. So turn off the bar and you have only the indicators equally spaced. Very nice. And of course you can change left, right, top setting. Top, maybe there's 0 now, or even a minus 100 is probably a little too much. Minus 10. We can space that a little out, minus 20, and you get a very nice indicator over here. One thing I can't show you in this video, because I'm not using full screen for this demonstration, is when you are in presentation mode, you start the presentation and you press the F, which I won't do now. Each of the indicators has a hyperlink. So this hyperlink, the second one, you see this is the second slide we are seeing, and if you are on a different slide like this, I'm now on the third slide in my presentation mode, and I left click on this icon, PowerPoint will take me to the second slide. So to this slide I'm seeing, which is very nice because you have very easy way for navigating through your demonstration. I'm gonna make a different video where I'm showing this in a minute. So let's go back to sections. Same works for sections. If you click in your presentation mode, pressing F5 here when I go to start presentation, if you click on the section name, PowerPoint will take you to the first slide of that section. If you have a section with no slide, this section, don't worry, we're doing error handling here, so no problem. If you have a slide with no, if you have a section with no title and with no slide, with no slide in it, you won't see the section in your progress indicator. When testing the progress indicator macro, I tested with demonstration and presentations with 190, 200 slides. Of course, this takes a while to generate all the icons. Imagine that. Then you have 200 indicators on 200 slides, which is 40,000 shapes which need to be created. That takes a while. Give PowerPoint that minute or two if you have such a large presentation. It works, and but be sure to turn off auto update before. You can go to my website here, database datenbankprojekt.de, database minus project is that you can go to my examples there and check out the website I made for this presentation. There's one more thing here in the help which I want to point out. First of all, you see the version number up here with a settings number. So if you happen to have any problems and you are getting in contact with me, use my website and please provide me the version number you're using, provide me the OSIO version you're using, Mac or Windows, provide the PowerPoint version so we can actually work on that. One more thing, here's a checkbox for debug mode. When you enable that, immediately a log file will be created in the folder of your presentation, which contains lots of data. Don't send me the file if I don't ask you to. And on Macintosh there will be a security check for that. I want to make one more, I want to show off one more thing, because I'm just talked about the Macintosh, not here, but here you can use the More button to choose from all the fonts which have been installed on your computer. So what we do here, we open MS Word in the background, which works fine on Windows. On Macintosh you will see Word opening and closing again, so don't worry, that's on purpose. We don't do anything bad here. There are 270 fonts on my computer installed. You can choose any of them. You get a preview, and when you click OK, this font is being used for the section titles. I can't click on More right now. I have to choose a different font before I'm able to click the More button again, and before I can choose a different font from there. So this concludes my demonstration of the progress indicator, a free macro for PowerPoint starting Microsoft Office 2010, and it should work once again on Macintosh and Windows systems. It should work on 32 and 64-bit versions. It's free. Give me some feedback and spread the word. Make a link to my website. Yeah. On that, go to this in the menu bar, and there you find the link to the progress indicator. Take care and have fun with the progress indicator. So I'm back here in presentation mode. I said I would do that. So you see there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I clicked accidentally. Sorry. 4 slides. Let's go back to the first one. I press over here. I jump over to the first slide, and you see there is a nice title. Don't mind, 256 is the internal ID, 1 is the first slide, progress indicator is the title of this slide, so this is this here, progress indicator, and 1 is your first visible slide. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 visible slides, so this has 4 at the end. Visible slides is not really correct. There's one more, is the video slide, which has been produced without indicator, but I can press on the icon and I jump to that page, which is very, very convenient, makes it very easy to navigate. Going back, I can press on the icon. I can also press on the intro, so not on the indicator down here, but on the section title, and I will jump over to the first slide in this section. Once again, have fun, use the progress indicator, and